You're 34 this month, and some would still say when you retire from the game, you're still relatively young. There's still some, you still have it. But there's still players who are still competitive and they're even plus. That's properly.
I mean, it got to a point where like I felt like I was just not moving forward. Like I just wanted to just. I felt like one or try I've done pretty much most of the things I wanted to do, and I wanted to start now something else in life, which like I imagine. I felt like I was ready to settle down and start a bigger family and yeah, start getting my life, you know, because you know, I was like with the game, you don't get much out of it. Of course, like you love representing your country, but that's all it was all about.
Naja, of course, he said family is one of the reasons why, to some extent, he decided to hang his boots and focus on other things about his life. Let's take the clock back. How did you guys meet? Where did you guys meet?
I don't know exactly.
Are you Australian? I want to understand first of all.
No, actually, so I came to visit some family here in Kenya. My aunt was moving from Ethiopia to Kenya, and I was supposed to stay here for 3 weeks, have a little nice holiday with her, and go back to Serbia, where I actually come from. But then I came to Kenya, I realized I really love this place, so I said, let me stick around a little bit. I met Willie, and I never got back. Yeah, so that's how it all started.
So when you met him for the first time, did you know who he was? Did you know that he was this famous Kenyan sports personality?
Interestingly, I had no clue even what sport it was that he did.
Please, can I get that? Willie Ambaka!
In Serbia, rugby is not a big sport. We have a lot of other famous, athletes, sports personalities. Volleyball, tennis, all these things, name it. But the rugby is not one thing that I knew anything about. So when I got to Kenya, I was like, is this person doing soccer? Like, what is this sport? And then I realized, like, okay, he plays sport, but I never understood the extent of it. How, ultimately I realized that is actually his profession.
Okay.
But that was quite interesting. I think to a certain extent, that's what made it so much easier to get to know each other, because you really started from scratch. I had no clue about his life, what he was doing, so it was really kind of starting from scratch and getting to know each other.
Okay. How do you feel for you? Did you invite for a game, first of all, or you just get an idea of how it is, how the sport is played?
Yes, so I was fortunate enough to be able to travel to Cape Town in December 2022, and watch him play was one of his last tours, so that was quite nice. But before that, we just watched a couple of Kenya Harlequins games. It wasn't really Will playing.
Okay.
Of course, I was watching, everything online.
Really, of course, 2023, you decided to hang boots. You touched on it briefly. Some would say to some extent, of course, the injury that you suffered, I think that also, I believe, could be a factor as well. Help us understand what happened. Where was it? And
I mean, yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why, because it is really, really hard to adapt with the goggles. At the same time, with one eye working, it's also another challenge. Plus, age was also another factor. And with Kenya sports, it got to a point I started asking myself the tough questions, what am I going to do after this, And then I felt like I was ready, it got to a point I just felt like there's nothing much I can do, and you see the young kids coming through as well. I think one of the moments I realized it was really, really time to move on was when we were doing a fitness session, and I felt like I was really, really struggling, because with sevens rugby, it's really hard. It's a lot of hard work.
For
Kenya sevens, and with the sacrifices you make, it gets to a point it got to a point I just felt okay, I think it's time, and I was ready to just move on to the next phase of my life. Yeah.
When you say struggle, what exactly was challenging for you? Was it running? Was it endurance? You felt like you were not at your best as you were before?
I mean, luckily we had a good strength and conditioning coach, Kim, and he knows how to balance the equation for the boys and stuff, because there's a lot of factors that affect, in terms of preparation, training age, all these things. Plus I've been doing it for over a decade now, and I got to a point where I was when, especially with the injury now, because most people take it for granted. When you have two eyes, you think it's you take life easy until you lose one eye, then you realize you have to relearn everything, because it got to a point when it happened, walking just around the corner, I could bump myself, because you don't really know how to because you always depend on the other eye, So I had to relearn everything, how to catch the ball again, because now it used to happen automatically. You just catch with your hands, like it just happens. But this one, you have to see your hands and the ball coming so that you can be able to catch. And it took some time, and then since I was out on injury because this happened, like, I think late 22, just before.
You were in Russia?
Yeah, I was in Russia. We went on a tournament in Elche, Spain, and that's the way it happened. So the whole story was I